Governor Ned Lamont and Lieutenant Governor Susan Bysiewicz have won a third ballot line on the November election. The candidates getting the endorsement of the Griebel-Frank for Connecticut party. This morning, Monte Frank explains the decision and why he believes election reforms are needed. Plus, we're sitting down with another ticket on the ballot. Independent candidate for governor Rob Hoteling and his running mate Chip Beckett join us in studio. Why they want to give you another choice this November. It's all today on The Real Story. Good morning, and thanks for joining us on The Real Story. I'm Jenn Bernstein. 3 lines. That's how many times you'll be able to see Governor Ned Lamont and Lieutenant Governor Susan Bysiewicz's names when you go and vote on the November ballot. They're going to be on the Democratic line, the Working Families Party line, and they got the endorsement of a party called the Griebel-Frank for Connecticut Party. Now, you may remember during the last race for governor in 2018, the late businessman Oz Griebel and attorney Monte Frank ran together. They preached transparency and reaching across the aisle to fight back against extremism in party politics that have created a great political divide. Well, the Griebel and Frank party didn't win, but they got enough votes to secure a spot on this November's ballot. We want to welcome back Monte Frank, who's been a contributor to The Real Story for many years now. Thank you so much. Great for you to be here.
It's great to be here. It's great to be here live in person and actually talking to a person rather than through Zoom.
I know. I was going to say I'm back from maternity leave, and this is my first in-studio interview in more than 2 years, which is wild. So definitely great to have a conversation in person, that's for sure. Thanks for being here. Okay, so a lot's happened in 4 years, right, including the loss, unfortunately, of your good friend Oz Griebel. The party that's formed, that's on the ballot right now, what is it all about? What were you looking for when you gave out that endorsement?
Well, there's a lot there, and let me back up a little bit.
Sure.
I mean, obviously, we miss Oz a lot, and a lot of what Oz did led us to where we are today. You know, after we had our disappointing loss in 2018, and we can talk about the electoral reforms, but Oz, like a good baseball player, you know, he dusted himself off and went to work on electoral reforms, on reforming the system so that the best and the brightest have a real chance at winning an election. And so ranked choice voting and open primaries and term limits were things that were critical to him. And when Oz tragically passed, you know, the baton was handed to me, and together with our team, we started building a movement around ranked choice voting and electoral reforms, which started a process where we engaged the candidates for governor, all of them, around our principles, especially around problem solving and electoral competition.
I was noticing, you know, I had always associated you all with the SAM-CT party, the Serve America movement, but now you're kind of morphing into the Forward Party. Tell me about that transition and why.
So what we're seeing nationally, and it may happen at some point in Connecticut, is that the third party space is consolidating. So I was part of the SAM, Serve America movement, which was all based on good governance principles, accountability, transparency, problem solving, and real electoral competition. SAM merged with Renew America. Renew America were the former Republicans who broke away from the Republican Party. So people like Governor Christine Todd Whitman, Michael Steele, they were all part of the Renew America. And then we had Andrew Yang's Forward Party. And we all know Andrew from running for the presidency and running for the mayor of New York City. But Andrew has just become a champion around the country for ranked choice voting and leveling the playing field and building this movement in the third party space to break up the duopoly and bring real competition to politics.
So you all endorsed Governor Ned Lamont and Susan Bysiewicz. Why?
Governor Lamont made a real commitment to ranked choice voting. He committed to us and the voters of the state that he would put in a governor's bill in the next session, talk about it in the State of the State address, and really work towards change that's going to be necessary to fix our broken politics, to get rid of the hyper-partisanship, to bring people together in consensus-building ways that will not only improve our democracy, but it will improve the way things are done locally at the municipal level, at the federal elections, and ultimately in the State House.
What did the other candidates talk to you about? I mean, what was that like, even having to go and ask the candidates after having run 4 years ago?
Well, it was hard. I mean, it was hard to put myself on the sideline. But I also felt that it wasn't the time for me, and that it was more important for us to use our leverage to produce some real change down the road, so that people like Oz Griebel, you know, they're really the best and the brightest. A person who would have been a transformational governor has a real shot at winning a race. And so that was our decision making. Rob Hoteling and Chip Beckett, you know, they're right there with us on electoral reforms and ranked choice voting. Governor Bob Stefanowski, he also said that he would support ranked choice voting. But at the end of the day, it was Governor Lamont's proven track record of working across party lines, problem solving, and his commitment to ranked choice voting that won the day. We believe that he is the person who could get it done, or can get it done in the legislature in the upcoming session.
What happens with the party 4 years from now? Do you stay on the ballot, or do you have to get a certain percentage, I would assume, of votes this time around again?
So if we get at least 1% of the vote on the third line of the ballot, so 1% of the people come and they decide, okay, I'm going to support Governor Lamont, I'm going to do it on the Griebel-Frank line, then we maintain our line. Now, we have filed paperwork with the Secretary of State to change our name from Griebel-Frank to Connecticut to the Forward Party of Connecticut. The Secretary of State has blocked that effort, so it will be Griebel-Frank for Connecticut on November ballot line, and we'll take up that issue as soon as the election's over. I see.
All right, I want to talk to you about a separate topic right now. A lot of people watching the Alex Jones case that's happening. Alex Jones found liable for damages for the Sandy Hook victims' families. I know you've been following the case as well. You are an attorney, and you actually were telling me that you represented Newtown when a lot of attention was on the town. People were calling, asking for FOIing, as we call Freedom of Information Act, paperwork from the town, kind of drowning the town, asking for a lot of requests. Take me back to that time period and tell me what it was like.
Sure. So this is the second trial for Alex Jones. He was found to be liable, and significant damages were awarded against him in Texas. And this is the second one. Liability is already established. It's all about damages. You know, I know in the Texas trial, some of the clips showed me representing the town of Newtown here at the Freedom of Information Commission hearings. And what was happening is, we were inundated with free information requests. There was a man by the name of Wolfgang Halby from Texas who was asking for things like porta potty records, the biochemical reports from the school, the cleanup efforts of the school, things that most people would find absolutely irrelevant to what happened in the school. But his mission was to prove that the shooting at Sandy Hook School was a hoax. And so he was gathering information. Alex Jones would send reporters to cover the hearings, and then he would comment on it at night. So throughout that whole period, I found myself in the middle of this horrific attack that we've seen. You could draw a through line from Sandy Hook to Charlottesville to the insurrection of the Capitol, where what we are seeing is a battle for the truth. That it used to be where there were basic facts that you wouldn't argue about. You could argue about whether certain things should have happened or not, or how they might have been fixed, but facts were facts. And through what we've seen from the Sandy Hook shooting up till now is this attack on facts. And to me, that's what is most reprehensible about Alex Jones. That not only is he telling the families that what happened to the kids didn't happen, but he's created this environment which is threatening our democracy.
Incredibly disturbing. I'm sure you'll be watching that closely, the result of it. Do you think that there's any accountability that's going to be held in his mind if you know, money talks, if he's found to, well, he's already been found liable, but the amount of money that he's going to be rewarded or have to pay Sandy Hook families. Do you think it's going to be a deterrent for other people to do what he did?
I'm hoping that through this process, first of all, no amount of money could ever compensate the parents for what they lost. It can never compensate the community for what it has gone through. But I'm hoping that through this process, there will be a real discussion about facts, how we can combat this threat to our democracy, and stop this really dangerous trend that we're seeing.
No doubt. Monte Frank, thank you so much for joining us in studio. Always good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Connecticut has some of the strictest gun control laws in the country, but now some of those measures are being challenged. This week, state leaders met to denounce a new lawsuit seeking to overturn the state's ban on assault weapons and large capacity magazines. This happened last week. Fox 61's political reporter Emma Wolfhorst joins us in studio right now with more. Emma.
Yeah, Jen, the message from several state leaders this week, these lawsuits brought by what they call extremist lawyers are manufacturing controversy. Connecticut representatives say they'll fight to protect the state's gun control legislation.
Connecticut's gun laws are constitutional, period.
Gun control advocates disagree, saying these laws infringe on the rights of law-abiding citizens. This suit comes after the Supreme Court struck down a New York gun law in June. Attorney General Tong saying that invited a wave of new lawsuits challenging gun control legislation in Connecticut and nationwide.
This is not a fight that we chose. I want to be clear about that. Nobody wants to be here. We have to be here.
This lawsuit questions the term assault weapon, calling it a political term not widely used in the firearms industry.
This is not a political moment. This is about our safety, our lives, about our children.
Most of the representatives at Tuesday's press conference, though, up for re-election this year, and all taking jabs at Republican gubernatorial challenger Bob Stefanowski, calling him extreme.
Bob Stefanowski has been endorsed by the NRA. Gun safety is on the ballot.
I reached out to Stefanowski's campaign. A spokesperson told me Stefanowski does not support making any changes to Connecticut's gun laws, including the assault weapons ban. Democrats say they're not convinced.
To say that you would not stand behind those laws, he doesn't get to change his mind. It's disqualifying.
Now, Tong and others reiterated they will win this legal battle. I did reach out to the Nagr. They did not respond. Similar lawsuits from the group were filed against Massachusetts, Hawaii, and Colorado, as well as Highland Park and Naperville, Illinois. Jen?
Emma, thank you so much. The nation definitely watching, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right, coming up on The Real Story, as the governor's race heats up, we are sitting down with the independent candidates for governor and lieutenant governor. Rob Hodeling and his running mate Chip Beckett secured the independent party endorsement, but not without some controversy. We'll be right back.